Hello and welcome. Thank you for being here. My name is Michelle Shelton. I'm a registered dietitian and certified coach. And in this channel, I teach people strategies to achieve a life of health and well-being that are centered in reconnecting to your body wisdom and your natural intuition and using that as the foundation for health in your life. Very different from what we hear in the wellness industry that's all about restriction and control. This is really about reconnection and listening to your body and caring for your body. So along those lines, the topic that I wanted to cover today fits in really nicely with that process. In fact, it's really one of the most important steps you can take. That said, it can also feel really scary for a lot of people. So as I introduce this, I want you to just notice what comes up for you. Does it feel scary? Does it feel like no way? Does it feel like, that's interesting maybe? Or do you feel like, yes, I'm ready. I'm ready to take this step, right? There's no right or wrong. I just want you to invite you to notice what comes up for you. Okay, so here's the question with all that lead in. Are you brave enough to stop worrying about your weight? Are you brave enough to stop measuring, to stop weighing, to stop tracking your body and how it changes in its body size, day by day, week by week, whatever that looks like for you? Now, as you hear that, again, I want to invite you to think about or just notice what comes up for you. Maybe you're like, I'm already there. Maybe you're like, yes, please. How do I do that? Maybe it's like, no way, because if I do, then I'll totally lose, I'll totally let go of myself altogether, right? Just notice what comes up for you with curiosity. None of those are wrong. Just notice where you are. And as I share with you, why I think this is a really important step, let me just first caveat that this does not mean, I'm not talking about not caring about your body at all, right? When I say not worrying about your weight, not measuring it, tracking it, following it, I'm not talking about not caring for your body. I actually deeply believe in a very deep attunement and connection and consistent practice of self-care, right? I really firmly believe in the importance of making space for movement so that your body can move in intentional ways and it can become strong and stay strong. I believe in nourishing it with good foods that give it the building blocks that it needs, right, to be healthy and well, in creating space for sleep, right, and managing stress and emotions. Those are all part of health. But what I want to offer to you is that the number on the scale is not part of health, right? Health is the behaviors and the way you care for your body. Those are the things we want to lean into. And as you let go of the number and the weight, it actually opens up a lot more space to care for yourself, right? That's a big step. So let me offer to you a couple of reasons why this is the case. So the first one is the more focused we are on our weight, the more we kind of get pulled into this cycle, right? When we see that number on the scale or we measure whatever measurement we're using to track, right, our body size, as we see it, if we see a number that we're happy with, we feel great. If we see a number that we're not happy with, then we don't, right? We start to go into action mode. I've got to do something, right? And so we either sort of kind of go into this like guilt and hide, or we go into this like, okay, I'm going to restrict and I'm going to count calories and I'm going to start this diet tomorrow, right? Or today, maybe we're even going to start it today. So we get into this place, right, where it's like the controls kick in because I feel like I need to change my body. And anytime, we've talked about this at other times in the channel, this is so important. This is such an important principle. Anytime you introduce a tight control into your system, you will always have another part that responds with some level of rebellion and chaos, right? So you think about any time, I think we've all experienced this. Anytime we sort of have this diet, we're really good at counting calories. We're really good at tracking all the stuff, right? And then after a while, we start to sort of slip off and start to kind of go to a place where we're not noticing at all. We're not tracking. And in fact, we're almost like intentionally sort of not noticing what we're eating because we know we're going to like trigger something that's going to send us back to the control, right? And so we kind of go in this tight control to sliding back to the chaos and pulling back into the control. Okay, that type of polarization is not helpful, right? You just end up in this tug of war This is the cycle that leads to weight cycling, yo-yo dieting, right? Of like, I lose weight, I'm on the diet, and then I fall off and I spike again, right? This is the polarization that leads to that. And we all know that's not healthy. And over the long run, it leads to a more unhealthy place for you. Okay, so it's not helpful, it's not good. So the second reason why I really believe letting go of your weight is an important step, letting go of tracking your weight is an important step. This polarization begins to lead to a belief that you don't have any self-control, right? Every time you get into this tight control and then you fall out into this more chaotic, kind of rebellious way of eating, you would tell yourself the story, well, I guess I just don't have enough self-control because I try to control and it doesn't work and I end back over here, right? And so when we believe this about ourselves, I don't have any self-control, we end up in this place of like losing trust in ourselves, continuing this kind of fight, right? And it's nothing to do with whether or not we can trust ourselves, it's that we're in this polarization, right? And the way out isn't more control, the way out is to release the polarization, right? You have to actually let go of the pull on one side to let the other side relax. Okay, so again, that second consequence, the first one is the polarization. The second sort of side effect of this focus on weight is this belief that we don't have any self-control, which is, again, not helpful. The third reason why I would offer to you that focusing on weight is not helpful, is not in service of you really achieving your best health, is that the number on the scale isn't always even reflective of whether or not you are in a place of health, right? So as an example, many years ago, I used to weigh myself, I used to measure myself, right, every day, every week, just to see, like, am I doing okay? Am I not doing okay? Do I need to restrict more, right? It was kind of in this cycle. So all these things I'm describing, I've been there, right? It totally applies to me. The number on the scale so often was reflective of, like, what's my water balance doing? Am I dehydrated? Looks like I lost some weight. Yay, am I retaining water because of where I am in my cycle? Looks like I gained weight, right? It has nothing to do with how I actually ate, but I would react and go to this place of sort of guilt and shame and restriction and control, right? Go back into that polarization, and it actually has nothing to do with how well I'm caring for myself. The other example I want to share with you is after my third child was born. So I was a mother of 3 young boys. I was trying to hold a career together. I was stressed out of my mind. And in that space, in that time of my life, I just lost my appetite. I don't know why. That was my physiological response to the level of stress that I was under. So I was exercising, I was nursing, and suddenly my appetite tanked, right? So my calorie out is high, my intake is low, and I started losing quite a bit of weight. And people would make comments, wow, you look great. They would ask me things like, what are you doing? Are you doing the keto diet, right? And I was like, no, I'm stressed out of my mind. This is not something you want to replicate. I'm not well. I am not healthy. My body size is actually a reflection of me not being in a healthy state. And yet, because of this focus on weight, right, people were even jealous, right? Like, oh, I wish I could lose my appetite. That's silly. No, you don't. We should not. We want desire that, right? Because it means we're not in a state of health, right? I was overstressed. We should not desire that. So again, the number on the scale and our weight is not really a good measure of what our true health is. What is a good measure? Again, it's how are you caring for your body? Are you getting the sleep that you need? Sleep is one of the most important things for appetite regulation, for weight regulation, for insulin regulation. So much, right, that we hear about in health and wellness has more to do with sleep than it has to do with how we eat. So are we sleeping enough, right? Are we nourishing our bodies with good, nourishing foods? And I'm not saying restricting certain foods, right, because they're bad. I'm saying including a lot of really good, nourishing foods. Are we moving our bodies in intentional ways so that we can stay strong and maintain our muscle, right? Those are all indicators of health. Body size is not one of them. The last reason why I think this is a really, really important step to take on your journey to wellness, to stop worrying about your weight and not let that be a key driver, is because it perpetuates self-disgust and it perpetuates bias, right? We have a lot of weight bias in our culture that we apply to other people. And sometimes we even apply it to ourselves. In fact, most of the time we apply it to ourselves, right? And we start to carry this burden around. Like, I've heard many people talk about how they don't like their bodies. They maybe think that they look disgusting. What a harsh word to use about any human being or to use against yourself, right? I don't think that belongs anywhere when we're talking about any human being. You are not a disgusting human. That just needs to be table stakes, right? And when we focus on weight, it's so easy to sort of get into this place, right, of self-disgust and not really, and when we're in that place, it's hard to care for ourselves, right? We don't love ourselves. We lose that connection to ourselves. We don't trust ourselves, right? And we want to build a foundation where we trust our bodies, we love our bodies, we see the good in our bodies because that is the truth. They are strong, they work hard for us, they show up for us every minute of every day. They deserve to be cared and loved and respected. Okay, so those are really important principles in my opinion, about why letting go of weight is a really important step. And once you can let go of all that energy, right? Once you can step out of that polarization, once you can step out of that belief that you don't have self-control, once you can step out of that bias that certain bodies are good and other bodies are bad, once you can release all of that, it creates so much space in your system to really care for yourself, to really nourish yourself. Imagine what it would look like if you woke up in the morning and instead of looking in the mirror and thinking, oh, I wish I could lose weight here, or I wish I could lose weight there, and instead you thought, wow, look at my strong, beautiful body that shows up for me every day, that allows me to go to work, that allows me to care for my family, that allows me to do these things. What a beautiful, strong body that I have. And from that place, going and nourishing and eating well, moving, sleeping, releasing the stress, all the things, right? Those are the indicators of health that we want to be pursuing. So I guess the last thing I'll share with you, I just want to acknowledge that this is a big step. It sounds maybe easier said than done because culturally we do have a lot of bias around weight. However, it frees you up to really attune to your body and to really achieve health. And so I just want to offer it as something to explore and notice where you are in that spectrum of totally ready or totally there versus like a little bit resistant or even a lot resistant. None of those are wrong. They're all normal, natural responses. Just notice where you are and notice how ready you are to take that step. So thanks again for being here. Stay tuned for more videos to support you on this journey because it is a courageous journey and I would love to support you along the way. It's a journey I have taken and it has changed my life. So I want the same for you. So stay tuned for more videos on how to do that and don't forget to click subscribe. And also if you're interested in learning what it would look like to receive more support from me as a coach to help you on this journey because it can be a lot to manage on your own, you can go to nourishwhoyouare.com. You can sign up for a free coaching consultation where we'll do a little bit of coaching on the call. We'll do kind of an analysis for you. You'll walk away with 3 things you can begin today to begin your journey. And I'll share with you what it would look like if you are interested in more help as well. So go to nourishwhoyouare.com for that. And don't forget again to hit subscribe. I'll see you in the next video.